My fellow agents, the state of the game was huge. It was great. It's going to make Division great again. But no, anyways, what's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to another Division 2 video. Today, after watching a lot of the PTS, being in chat with Macho over on Twitch, his link is in the comment section below. Also, I was in there yesterday when the PTS started. Picking his brain. He was, more or less giving out suggestions. I was reading his mind. We were, the homies were clicking as far as in the minds, melting as far as taking in consideration what currently is on the PTS and what was stated in the state of the game, the changes that were coming. But let's keep in mind that possibly not all those changes are going to make it out of the PTS. So the sky is not falling, the world is not ending. Let's try to remain positive and wait till, after the PTS, hear some more results and hear the final decision and actually use it and implement it in, our everyday gaming experience on the division, and then go from there before we pass any kind of judgment on any kind of devs or anything. Because they are dedicated to this game. They are working hard to make it a great experience, not only for PvE people, but also for PvP as well. Because it's a game for both. We can have differences of opinion, but, when it comes together as, the love of this game, I like the direction it's going just because, they're making sure that there's something for everybody, whether it's PvP, PvE, there's something for everybody, and tons and loads of comments. But enough about me rambling on about that. But like I said, I came up with this build kind of in conjunction with Macho. He already had like some thoughts, and then I kind of tweaked it and made it my own. But he has a video of a build similar to this one on his channel. His link is in the comment section below. That's his YouTube and his Twitch, so go check it out. But this is my take on it and my little twist, and then we'll go over the changes as follows when it comes to each and everything and what the changes will actually be. So enough of my rambling. Let's hop right into it. All right, there's key features in this build, and we'll go over them step by step, change by change, as of right now, according to their statements from State of the Game of what things will actually change to. Now, as you can see, my attributes tree goes from, well, I guess you call it, is it really a tree? My Legos over there of my attributes, the 397, that possibly can change, of course, with the Bloodsucker talent or the Unbreakable talent that I'm currently looking for. But it could actually go up from 311 to 7, and I'm actually prepared and have the pieces to do so. Now, keep in mind, this is not the exact way to build this build. There's different brand set that offers different viabilities to different playstyles, and it can actually make it better. There, you probably have different and better attribute roles on these pieces if you already have them in order to make this build. So that'll just make it even stronger and more viable. But, I wanted to get this information out there just mainly because, yes, it's a great, awesome build. And also to kind of go along with the changes that are possibly 75 to 90% sure that they're actually going to be implemented sometime within the next month. So let's start with the weapons first. Go to P416. If you prefer the CTAR, the M4, whatever AR, by all means, personal preference. This is just mine. But it has the talent preservation on it. Killing an enemy repairs 5% armor over 3 seconds. Headshots improve. The repair requires 5 or more. I have 9. Of course, Allegro in the second slot. And then third, that comes in kind of quite handy sometimes. The stop, drop, and roll. While equipped, rolling removes burning, bleed, and poison status effects. Can occur once every 60 seconds. Then, of course, we just have the extended mag, accuracy, reload speed, and more stability. Now on to the LMG. 24.5k, and that's with not having a Petrov piece, so I don't instantly get that 10% added onto that. So if I did have that extra 10% on there, then we're looking at around 27k, and then that's that would be the only LMG damage that I actually have on there. But yet, if you wanted to switch to the Demolitionist and then get that 15% along with the other 10% to be a total of 25, then it's going to be around 30 to 31k. All right, you follow me so far? All right, I hope I'm not losing anybody. And of course, we have the Unhinged talent. Receive 25% weapon damage at the cost of 35% weapon handling. That is one of the things that stated is going to be changed. It's going to be reduced to 20% weapon damage at the cost of, I believe, 30% weapon handling. So, and I could be, wrong on at least the cost part. Pretty sure it's either 25% or 30%, but I definitely know it's one of the two. And of course, you want Allegro on the second slot, and then Everlasting. Wish I had something better, like Rooted, possibly. That would be a lot better. And then in the mod slots, Accuracy, Rate of Fire, Stability, and Stability. Now, the Preservation works in tandem with these other things, such as Patience. We'll start with those knee pads first. It's a Gilligard knee pads. One piece gives me 5% total armor. The attributes are 95-14 bonus armor. Patience. After being in cover for 3 seconds, armor repairs by 5% every second. This is also one of the things that's stated to be changed. After being in cover for 5 seconds, armor repairs by 5% every second. Even though it's increased by 2 seconds, it's still very viable and still definitely very good. Depending on exactly how much armor you have in your armor pool, that 5% will vary as far as the numbers on, how much you actually get in return. But if you're going to be in cover and killing, then it's good to have preservation on your weapon. So that way you're not only getting the 5% from Patience, but for every kill you're getting an additional 5%, and of course headshots improve that effect. Now moving on to the mod slots, we have 2 more defensive mods in the mod slots: 31-41 health, 16% disrupt resistance, 6% ensnare resistance. I would probably prefer something different on those lines, but it's the best health mod I currently have, so it just had to be there. And then of course, a fairly decent one in the second slot: 3011 bonus armor, 3% total armor, and then 5% health regen. Now let's go over the other 3 I would say main components, and then these are more or less fillers. Like I said, I haven't come across any unbreakable chess piece with that talent, so I'm eager to try that out, and that is also one thing that's set to possibly be changed. Is supposed to jump to 70% after your armor breaks completely, that you instantly get 70% and can occur, I believe, every 60 seconds. But that possibly can be raised, just like Bloodsucker, from 7 defensive to, I think it's 11, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm prepared and have the pieces to meet that if need be. But let's continue. And the attributes, we have bonus armor 4307, 58-15 health, 10% weapon damage, and of course, for having 2 pieces Gilligard, we get that additional 20% hazard protection. Then, of course, Bloodsucker. Depleting an enemy's armor adds a stack of 20% bonus armor for 20 seconds. Max stack is 5. That is one thing also that's stated to be changed. That 20% will be 25%, and the bonus armor for 10 seconds max stack is, I believe, 6, but possibly it could stay at 5. But like I said, things are subject to change. That's just as of right now. Then, of course, in the mod slots, we have defensive, 3127 health, 4% health regen, 952 armor regeneration. Utility, 116 skill power, 217 chem launcher skill power, 78 drone skill power, and then of course 2431 bonus armor, 694 armor, and 3% protection from elites. So just on this one piece alone, I'm getting 4 defensive, a utility, and an offensive. And then on this Gilligard, that's another 3 defensive. So just on these 2 pieces alone, that's 7 right there. So it is very, very possible and feasible to definitely come up with some off-the-wall builds. But anyways, enough rambling. Now over to the gloves. It's a Murakami Industries. For having 1 piece, you gain 8% health. The attributes I wish were significantly higher by way of health, and of course the assault rifle damage. I do believe the Aronaldi can come with the best health stats that they are. And I believe the cap on these particular gloves was at 6%. And I know that the values are going to be increased on some. The 515 gears is coming. So I'm hoping to get better values on that. And then, of course, we have compensated. Weapon damage is increased by 15% when your critical hit chance is below 20%. Requires 3 or less offensive talents. And we have, or attributes, I should say. And we have 3. Now, write this down. Keep this in mind. That's 15% right there. Now let's move on to the next one. It is the Weibenwehr. Wish it was a different backpack, but this is the only one I currently have that could meet this without negating some other things and unlocking them. But if you have something that could meet these requirements as far as that 397 or the 311.7, then by all means, I would prefer a different brand set, just such as like a Petrov. That would work out nicely. I would even take a 511. But we're stuck with the Wyvernware. 7% crit damage doesn't really do nothing for me. The attributes are 7% cooldown reduction, 338 skill power, 2.5% weapon damage. Once again, RNG just kind of kicked me in the balls. I'm getting all these low rolls and attributes and everything. So you probably have better stuff, and that would make it even stronger. But anyways, the talents are on the ropes. Weapon damage is increased by 25% while all skills are on cooldown. Requires 7 or more. I have 7, and of course hardened. 10% armor. And then in the mod slot, we have another defensive, 3613 bonus armor, 2.47 critical hit chance resistance, and 6% disrupt resistance. So just with these two being procced, 25 and 15. So that comes up to 40. And then if you add in devastating, that's 45. But we haven't got to that one yet. So 45. Now let's go on to the mask. It's a Yaw gear. 10% weapon handling. Comes in handy when using unhinged, but not necessary. But, you know, if it's there, why not use it? The attributes are 3% cooldown reduction. And we have 341 skill power. And then spotter. 10% weapon damage to pulsed enemies. Now keep in mind, this is also going to be changed. As of right now, it is going to be plus 20% weapon damage to pulsed enemies. Requires 5 or more. I have 7. So, thus far. So regardless whether both skills are on cooldown or that they are on cooldown, between those 3 pieces, I'm either going to be receiving 35 or 40% weapon damage. I pulsed him, I'm at 35. Once they go on cooldown, I'm at 40. That's why I have the Chem Launcher and, of course, the Pulse for the Spotter talent. Chem Launcher, drop a pool of green goo or gas at your feet. It goes on cooldown, procs the on the ropes. Then I'm up to 40% just in that. And then if you add in the holster down here of Devastating with skill power of 516 and then 5% weapon damage by way of Devastating. So that's at a constant 45 to 40% weapon damage. Excuse me. And you don't have to necessarily use Bloodsucker. I just look at it as more of a survivability thing. Because every single proc, you just, depleting someone's armor, you're gaining armor. And if you're in cover, you're getting even more armor through patience and the preservation from the weapon talent. So if you add all those things combined, that it increases your survivability a lot. And then if you incorporate all of these weapon damage talents by way of compensated on the ropes and spotter, you're going to be absolute tanky as crap and also dish out tons and tons of damage. Now, like I said, you can switch out any of these pieces, either the backpack or whatever, to put in a Petrov piece and actually go to a demolitionist instead of a survivalist like I am and run LMGs. Now, you can switch out the Devastating for a piece that has filler up, and then, the Petrov piece up here where I have the Wyvernware, and then you run double LMGs with filler up. Very, very nasty and very, very viable. If you don't want to use Bloodsucker, you can also have Unstoppable Force in this slot. It can switch out with Bloodsucker. Now that Berserker's kind of taking a hit, that makes Unstoppable Force a little more viable. I believe it also could be going up to that 9 to 11, so keep that in mind too. But right now, 3, 7, and 7 is good, but I'm preparing just in case it is, so that's why I'm at 397 and can switch out a couple pieces and be at 311.7, the magic number, just in case it does. But you get tons and tons of survivability, because when it comes to armor and health, it's not necessarily how much you can stack on, but how much you can sustain it and fortify it while taking damage, and let it be intertwined. I know some people have put out content and videos as far as saying that armor and health are useless. Well, keep in mind they kind of addressed that and going, tone down the NPCs a little bit, and tweak things here and there so that way, you don't get two tapped from a shotgun from 2 blocks away. But it's nothing new. I mean, the Division 1 was like that, but they're getting to it real quick and fast. But if it's just for pure PvP, such as this build is, and what is basically I have it designed for, then yes, it's easily to have tons and tons of survivability. If you want to switch out the Bloodsucker for Unbreakable Force, that is very, very much an option. But like I also said, Unstoppable Force, if you want to try to chain kills together after one kill, whether it be NPC or player, and then focus that damage on top of all the damage you already have coming in by compensated on the ropes and spotter, then you're good to go. Because if you had Unstoppable Force on with the way my armor is now, then that's an additional, what is it? I think it's getting changed, but like 2% for every 10% armor, so that comes out to be around anywhere between 40 to 50% damage on top of all that. So I mean, it is very, very optional, and tweak it, make it your own. Make it conform to your play style, and don't let the build play you. Get what I'm saying? You have to tweak it, make it your own, conform to your play style. This is just kind of like showing you what's the possibilities and the damage output it can do. And if you want to see full gameplay of it and not just 5 or 10-second clips or a couple minutes, then I actually was running this build when I streamed earlier today for 3 hours. Not exactly, but the main pieces as far as spotter on the ropes and compensated along with Bloodsucker, and then I tweaked it as I found pieces farming players and also just farming landmarks in the dark zones. So go check that out. That link will be in the description as well. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope I didn't forget anything. Let's go over the character stat sheets because yes, I just remembered I did forget that, so I don't get burned in the comment section for that again. Sorry about that. But like I said, we're using compensated. No need for crit chance, 19,251 base damage for the P416, 10% reload speed, 10% accuracy, 10% stability. We get 10% handling by way of the One Piece Yaw gear, and then 17.5% all weapon damage, 31% assault rifle damage for a total of 48.5, and that is before compensated or spotter. So you have to take that definitely in consideration. So add another additional 40% onto that. So we're currently sitting, if you add that in, since most of the time it's going to be 40 to 45, then we're almost at 100% weapon damage. Being at 48 and then adding another 40 onto that, that's 88. So we're getting really super duper close, and you could even have the pieces, especially if you have higher weapon damage mods or attributes on your backpack. I only had 2.5%. So if you had any higher values, then that's just going to push you even closer to having that 100% weapon damage. And then of course no other damage besides 15% shotgun damage just from the specialist itself. But like I said, if you prefer LMGs, then switch to a demolitionist, and then that values will fluctuate, and that way you'll increase your LMG damage. And then our defense, 249, 805 armor, 44,964 max health, 24,506 health regen, 20% hazard protection, 20% bleed, blind, burn, disorient, 42% disrupt, 20% shock, 1311 skill power, 17% skill cooldown reduction, and then 1528 chem launcher, because we are utilizing the chem launcher that allows us to unlock extra ammo. So when we do drop those green gas clouds at our feet or while we're running, just so that we can keep our skills on that proc of cooldown for on the ropes, then if you do take damage, then you still are able to have those extra clouds to more or less heal yourself. So that way you're always can have your skills on cooldown, but also in a clutch situation still have plenty enough to heal yourself as well. And then 1389 drone, 1311 as far as the rest of the skills. And then we'll actually go over the skills now. Of course, the chem launcher, just for +2 ammo, requires 950. But as you can see, if I wanted to when the normalization is fixed, because it does cut down. So instead of the +3, I had to fall back to the +2 because it does cut some skill power up, but that's going to be changed as well. So what skill power or mods you have unlocked before normalization, you will actually still be able to use while you're doing normalized activities. But like I said, I have this +3 down here that I'm very able to use. So that would give me a total of 6. But for as of right now, 5 definitely works if that's all you got is 950 skill power. But with having 7 utilities, you should at least be around 1k skill power, if not more. So tweak it to suit whatever mods you have, but you at least want +2 ammo in your chem launcher if you use one. And then, of course, in the other one, I just have the 19.4% duration, just in case that I need to stand in it a little bit longer while I'm fighting in cover. So that way, if I have it, that burst healing dropping 2 immediately, getting that burst healing while I'm in cover shooting, and then also getting the preservation talent from my weapon and patience at the same time, then I'm turning into a basically a super tank, because I'm constantly getting that duration heal from my chem launcher, and then I have tons and tons of ammo for it, along with patience and preservation kicking in. And then, of course, not calculating in, but if you want to, go ahead and throw in those procs from Bloodsucker just from taking armor off either players or NPCs. And you can just stack and stack and stack all these armor values up, and then all this heals up, and you basically become a god. And then with better mods, better talents, better skills as far as skill power and your attribute rolls on said pieces with utilizing these talents, can even be better than what I have here. I actually haven't really put any mods in the pulse other than just a little bit of cooldown reduction. Because as you can see, that's the only mod that I have. But, put on what you see fit. But you really don't necessarily need cooldown reduction. You might want some radius. Because basically you're getting more damage for when both skills are on cooldown, but when both skills are up, then it's best to use something that will only last say 10 seconds, like a pulse, but yet you still benefit from it through the spotter talent. And how everything has synergy and are very cohesive with this build. But anyways, enough of me rambling on. I hope you guys enjoy it. Be sure to check out the gameplay in that live stream. And once again, that link is in the comment section below. And also, King Macho over on Twitch. His information is in the description below. Go check him out. And also check out his YouTube channel. All that info is in the description below. Tell him Relentless sent you. And we'll see you guys fudging later.